Hello, everybody. You know what? I'm gonna change that. Because there's been some changes in my life, and I think the podcast should reflect that as well. So, let's go with Hello, humanity. I'm back. I know you've missed me. I could see the stats on YouTube going crazy. So, what happened? Why am I back? And the rest. Let's explore that in this episode of the podcast. First of all, welcome back to the We Are Not Lonely podcast. I just want to say that it's been one hell of a month, and I'd like to thank Leo for holding the fort down when I was gone. It was quite the nice gesture, yeah? The important thing is not that I went and disappeared, it's that I'm back. Because if you loved something, you must let it go. Oh, yeah. Never mind, man. Sorry. I just had to meme for a little bit because that's what I'm thinking of. But before I left, I did plan this entire thing out. I did mention that I would be going on a bit of a hiatus. I was planning on shifting my residence, but for the moment, that seems to have been delayed. Which is understandable, you know. To quote Madhura, "Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world." Right? But that's okay. Because I'm not really attached to the outcome. Now the important thing was I was traveling for a while and I had an amazing freaking time. If you want to know about the things I've been doing, well, all you gotta do is hit me up on Insta. The link is in the description, but I'm just gonna mention it. rudras.raw. That's gonna be the content channel, I guess. The content Instagram ID. So, the important thing is that I'm back. And I seem to have forgotten how to do this. Because it's been barely 2 minutes. I'm already looking at the timer and I'm wondering what I'm gonna say next. But I'm sure it's like riding a bike in that everything will come back all at once. Yeah. So, let me just give you an idea about what I'm going to be doing for the podcast. I'm going to keep this episode kind of short. Because, hey, to be fair, we did reach like a, what do you call that? The quaternary. Like 25 episodes. I just realized that this is the 25th episode as I was speaking, and now I'm not going to be able to cut it short, or am I? I don't know. Never let them know your next move. I did want to say this though. The general direction of the podcast is going to be taking a bit of a change. So far it's been a lot of fun. Not a little fun. But the idea and the vision that I have for the podcast moving forward, at least the next couple of episodes, is for it to be a lot more informative. Like for example, episode 14, the one I spoke about how to get bloody rich. That's kind of the content that I'm aiming for, right? And I'm gonna now here's the thing, like the idea is to put Leo to sleep. This is gonna become his sleep podcast from now, because his podcast has disappeared. Like the podcast that he would use to fall asleep has disappeared, and now he does not know what to do in life, and so I'm trying to provide him a way out. And that is true, the We Are Not Lonely podcast. I mean, is he even your friend if he doesn't help you go to sleep by playing? No, wait, let me rephrase that. Is he even your friend if he doesn't start a podcast that you can fall asleep to? So that's the plan. Make the content so dry. No, actually, like according to him, it's very dry, but I've had like great deal of people tell me that that's one of their favorites. Personally, it's my favorite episode of the podcast so far. I think it's the most researched. The tone could have been a bit better, but to be fair, I was just like 13 episodes in, and I was still learning about this whole new form of communication. So always like moving forward, I know that things are always going to get better. As in, like, I always strive for 1% improvement every day. So that's the thing. Keeping that in mind, I hope to bring that even into the podcast. I've done it everywhere else in life. So maybe this would work too, right? So if all things had gone according to plan, I would have been doing this from a whole new area, and I would have had like a video form of the podcast out, but that's gonna be delayed while I work out some kinks in the system. Also, I was traveling and I've been a little naughty, shall we say. Yeah. To be fair, I've been a good boy most of my life. I think I deserve this small bit of naughtiness. This is bad boy phase. It's over now. I'm back to being a good boy. But I'm just putting this out there. I am capable of being bad. Not down bad. I just thought I'd clear that up. So, the podcast is going to become a lot more technical. I just want to mention that the next couple of episodes are going to be dedicated to the Shastras. I'm going to give you a small idea of what the Shastras are right now so that you know. But essentially, what the West calls their scriptures, like they have like what the Bible and its multiple, the book of so and so and so and so. Well, I'm going to be talking about the Vedas, its vast library of contents, the Upanishads and all of the rest. The Purusha Suktam, the Sri Suktam. I don't know how much detail I'm going to be able to go into, because this is a way for me to sort of revise whatever I've been learning. So I'm looking forward to this, honestly. It's going to be a great deal of fun for me. And apparently, like, the recent growth in subscribers is because I've been telling people about the whole new plan for the podcast. I'm going to be talking about the Bhagavad Gita, for one, the song Celestial. So, yeah, there's a lot of ground to cover, and I don't know how long that's going to go. So I've just been taking my time and planning things out, right? I can't just put this podcast out willy-nilly anymore. I need to do some serious research. It's not like I wasn't doing it before. Like, some of the most well-researched episodes in the past were like my favorites. For example, the one about the red pill, the one about the left, the one with the World Economic Forum. that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was insane. So I'm going to stop there because it's already starting to sound like this podcast is going to be about me just reminiscing. But no, alright? So the roadmap moving forward, there's going to be some more Red Pill content. There's going to be a lot more financial content. I will be doing some things on the Bhagavad Gita as well, but I'm going to take my time and prepare. So like I was saying, the podcast is going to take a change. There's going to be a change in tone. There's going to be a change in topics spoken about. It's definitely going to get a lot more serious. This is not the end, the be-all, end-all of like the direction that the podcast is going to take. It's just that it is something that I want to explore at the moment. Me pretending to be a cult leader, like I've promised on my IG. So that's going to be happening. And some of the topics that I'm going to be talking about will be including like the Shastras, like I mentioned, the Vedas. What are they? What is the Vedic view on life, for example? I will be touching upon Jyotisha, which is Vedic, for the lack of a better word, which is Vedic astrology. There have been a lot of uninformed people going around and throwing their opinions about this particular topic, and I might react to one particular YouTuber who's done like this 20-minute thing. But I don't know, I want to take apart his claims piece by piece and debunk them, right? Because this guy is doing himself a disservice. Sure, it's all good to be rational. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I'm going to be talking about the various philosophies that are recognized in this Vaidika Dharma, this particularly, and I'm going to go into a lot of depth. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to go balls deep. Metaphorically, of course, right? So those are some of the things I'm going to be talking about, some Indian cultures. I don't know if I'm going to be going into current events like within India, because that's a very touchy topic. So I might not brush upon that. But Vedas, a lot of things in there, like the Prasthanatrayam, the Bhagavad Gita, of which is a part of the Prasthanatrayam, and all of that. I'm clear that, like, I need to do my research. But I do have an upcoming podcast about masculinity. It's going to be primarily focused on the men of today. Because honestly, I believe that masculinity is being lost at a time when it is most needed. Yeah, it might sound like a joke, but I think you know me. I'm not joking when I'm not joking. That was like a bit of a joke. I don't know. Like, yeah, anyway. Yeah, I also want to touch upon like self improvement and productivity because that's like an entire topic that I've been doing that since 2018, dude. And I think I need to. It would be a serious disservice if I don't share what I've learned about the entire thing, right? So I'm going to be doing that as well. So these are some of the topics that I'm going to be touching upon. I don't want to give away pretty much everything, but it goes on like it goes through a lot of pages. The idea has always been to bring on guests to the podcast, but before I do that, I want to be able to reach a particular, like not a reach. Well, yeah, definitely a reach, because some of the people that I bring on the podcast will be giving a lot of value, right? And I want to be able to provide a platform that justifies calling such a person, right? So right now I'm just doing the podcast because I'm having a lot of fun. I like to pitch. I've gotten a platform. I go on like 45-minute rants about whatever's annoying me for like whatever reason. And that's been the podcast so far, and it's been a great deal of fun, right? So yeah, also I'm definitely gonna have to do some backlog, so we don't have like such a long hiatus. You know what I'm saying? My man Leo like stepped up when the time was necessary, and he did put out like an entire really cool podcast. Episode 24, he's done some really cool effects. I highly suggest you check it out if you haven't already. Right. So this is the situation, yo. Like, I'm back. I'm getting back with the podcast. I've got a lot of content planned. It's gonna be so much fun. Right? Also, I've been re-listening to most of the old content, which is why you can see me specifically name certain parts of the podcast. It's funny. Yeah. Also, like, I don't know if this is a thing, but I might be using this podcast as therapy, as like point to point, but y'all will never know. Y'all will never know. I'm healing long issues. And I swear to God, like, I'm pretty sure. Okay, and also this podcast is like what do you call it? It's like a safety thing in case, like, any girl that I'm with will ever say these forbidden words. You don't know how to communicate. Bitch, I've got a fucking podcast. Go listen to it. I can communicate. You just don't communicate. You don't communicate. Have you thought about that? Huh? Clearly I can communicate, because I can pontificate on a topic for nearly 45 minutes. The hard part is not keeping the topic going for like 45 minutes. It's stopping at 45 minutes. It's being disciplined enough to stop. Now, speaking of that, I think this is a logical expansion, I guess. But I've been going to open mics. I mean, to be fair, I've only gone to one. But it was a lot of fun. And I'm definitely going to go for another sometime very soon. The cool thing is I actually made an entire podcast episode about that particular incident. I think almost immediately as I got back. That's the fun part about it. And so I took all of the things that like I said, stopping at 45 is not the hard is the hard part. Stopping at 45 is the hard part. So you could imagine how difficult it was for me to, shall we say, reduce all of my content and my drama and my whole freaking shenanigans to like 10 minutes, dude. And also, I had to stop swearing because, elder crowd and all of that. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think, okay, so I'm gonna go on like a bit of a tangent because I've been getting into the whole red pill thing again. It's like I find a particular hole every once in a while and I keep fucking digging into it. I keep making it larger and larger and larger. That's how I like to do things. I like to go deep, really deep. Now I'm drinking some hot water. It's Ashada Masa. It's Varsha Ritau, according to the Jyotisha calendar, the Vedic calendar, which incidentally Pope Gregory touched upon while building, like, the Julian calendar, like the modern Roman calendar, which the entire world uses. The lunisolar calendar of India was one of the things that he, referenced. And I can talk about that in a later podcast episode, like the different kind of. It's going to be part of the Jyotish thing anyway. But anyway, like it's Varsha Ritau, meaning it's the rainy season, it's the monsoon. By now, I'm pretty sure you figured out that I have some sort of tie to the country India. Like, I'll never tell, though. I will never tell you where the location is. I will never dox. Right? I'm trying to, at least. I'm being very, very, like, straight up here, right? So the point is that right now it's raining and the weather changes bring a lot of changes. You're supposed to monitor those changes in your diet and the rest. Right now things are kind of cold. It's taken like an entire 180, like from the past couple of months where it's been swelteringly hot. It was summer, now it's monsoon, right? So that's why I'm drinking hot water, because I'm an old man now. 12,000 years, it's 12,000 years and then some, and kinda getting weary at this point. Just wondering, how much longer of this should I? I'm kidding. Yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely weary. I'm also having, like, I ensured, a couple of things, dude. I've decided to become an asshole. I don't know if I've mentioned this earlier, but my villain origin story has started, right? I am done being the nice guy. I don't know if I was the nice guy, but, like, I'd like to picture this as my new evolution thing. So, we're just gonna go along with that. I used to be a nice guy, and then I met her, or some nonsense like that. So let me just summarize the events of the last month or so, just for the heck of it. I went on a road trip by myself. It was so much fun. I just packed all of my shit from my home. Literally, it was me I was supposed to be leaving. I was supposed to shift my residence, like I said earlier. But things didn't quite work out. The place I was looking at, like, it was an amazing place, man. It was the lifestyle that I dreamed of. It would have been the perfect bachelor pad. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. But that's okay. Because it's not about the destination, it was about the journey. And the journey was fucking awesome. I caught up with an old friend and bonds deepened. It was really cool. Like I did say, I spent some time in Bangalore and I became a bit of a bad boy. And I think I had enough of that nonsense and I had to run away. When I decided to leave Bangalore, it was like the perfect timing because like I had a place to stay until then, but I met the owner and like I suggested, hey, why don't I become your tenant? And things didn't quite go the way I intended. He the rent he quoted was a little out of my price range. let's just say I could have purchased like acres of land and paid off the installment with half that money. The monthly installments. If I'd paid that, like, I'd have had like some decent land, really good land, not even decent land. If the money that I would have spent in a year, I could have like got some like acres of really good farmland. That's how much we're talking, right? So obviously I was like, no, thank you. I think I will tap out, but thank you for the experience. And of course, like, I do plan on bringing this particular person. Just because I failed on becoming his tenant does not mean like things end there, because there were a bunch of other things that I wanted to talk to him about. I've been reading about this particular individual, and his life story is quite interesting. Suffice it to say that one of the reasons that I might be building the podcast, doing more, it's mostly for myself, but also because I want to bring on guests and I want the podcast to be at a level where they're like, oh, not bad, this kid's done something, you know. Because let's face it, we all pretend that we don't care about social validation and all of that, but it's an important part of us. We are a social animal. It's just what is important. Just take the important bits and cancel out the rest, you know. Know what I'm saying? Know what I mean? Yeah. So, when I was done with my scenes, when I was chilling in the big city, and I decided that the vibes were a little off and I had to take off, I had to disappear. I literally had to, I ran away from the city, from the big city. I was like, no thank you, the vibes are too bad, I'm becoming a bad boy, I must go. And I descended. I went literally into a forest. I did some extreme sadhana. Yeah, it was amazing. It was brilliant. I went to this particular ashram. My friend had a ranch nearby. It was a lot of fun. So most days I would just do yoga in the morning. I think I spent like a week or more than that staying in the ashram. Every morning I'd wake up at like some 4 or 5:30, something like that. I'll wake up, have a bath in extremely cold water, like the cold shower max, dude. Like, that place was insane. And then I go do yoga, hardcore. Like, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I come from a place where yoga is quite the thing. I can't give away too much information, but like, if you figure it out, I'm not gonna be like, I'll never tell, you know, I'll never tell. But essentially, the place I'm from has a lot of yoga teachers, and a lot of yoga happens here. It's a very big place in terms of yoga. A lot of white people come here to get their teachers training, certification, and the rest, right? So I was from such a place, but I chose to do martial arts instead because I saw the quality of teaching in martial arts. And you know, like, I had like a path, man. It was either like around 6 years back, close to 6.5 years back. I was given in, like, I was literally at a crossroads. I had an option to either do Bharatanatyam, which is classical Indian dance, or pick up like yoga, or do martial arts. And my inclination, my particular temperament, ever since then, always has been towards the martial aspect of life. So I decided to, you know, that's one of the most important things. And particularly, and the important thing is, like, I'm going to bring this up during the masculinity podcast as well. I think this was instrumental in me reclaiming my masculinity, because it was one hell of a journey learning how to fight. The way my attitude changed as I kept training. Oh my god, that was intense. I'm probably gonna make a podcast about it, you know, my journey through martial arts and stuff like that. But we'll see. Yeah. Basically, what happened was I went this whole ass fucking character arc. I got like the superiority complex in the beginning. Oh yeah, I'm a dangerous being, and then, you know, I had to learn how to rein it in. So when I started listening eventually to Jordan Peterson, who kept talking about how a virtuous slash good man is not one who is weak and harmless, but it is one who is capable of great violence and chooses to keep it under control. To have a sword and to keep it sheathed. Literally. And that's the cool part because I'm literally a swordsman, you know? That's always been my thing. Anyway, so the entire martial arts journey thing, that was brilliant. Post that, I did, I went deep into martial arts, and now I've decided to explore some other things. Yoga is technically the foundation of certain movements. In our culture, there's this whole thing, it's all linked to Shiva, which I will talk about, which is very intense. Dance, martial arts, a lot of culture is linked directly to Shiva, and that's pretty intense. Dance, martial arts, and yoga, meditation, all of these trace their origins in one way or another to Shiva, which is fucking intense, dude. I can touch upon it now, but I think that it would be a lot better to talk about that in an entire podcast dedicated to martial arts. So you can see how much content I'm sitting on. It's just that now I'm making I would plan out certain episodes earlier. Now I'm planning out the direction that the channel itself is going. So there's this huge character arc that the channel itself is going through, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited for what's coming. All of these topics are things I'm incredibly passionate about. Because if I wasn't, then I wouldn't find time to speak about it for 45 minutes. Oh, would I? I don't know, dude. I'm really good at talking, but I can't fake enthusiasm, that's for sure. Right? So, yeah, screw it, dude. I'm just doing things that I'm interested in. I'm having a great deal of fun. I've recently discovered that I might be a huge ass freaking extrovert. And so, I've decided to go around meeting more people. That's my whole thing. And I can't do that in the small, sleepy little town that I'm from, which is why I want to move to the big city and live it up for the next couple of years. And maybe settle down eventually. Have a wild couple of years and then become a good boy again. But yeah, that's the scene. I learned, okay, so I was telling you about my morning routine while I was at the ashram. I would wake up at 6, do yoga, and then if you've been following me on my Insta, you would have seen the things that I've been doing, chopping up the area, the wilderness around the cottage I was staying at, because nature's kind of reclaimed most of the ashram. And you can't really blame Swamiji. Come on, he's like a 60-year-old man. He's got a busted knee. He's doing what he can. But yeah, it was fun. It was a great deal of fun staying there. Swamiji's got this ethic. He wakes up at 3:30 every single day. Right? And he still does his sadhana. He's got a busted knee from an accident nearly 20 years ago. But he does not take a class without doing his personal sadhana. Imagine that. Even today. And so when my friend usually arrives, it's my friend who's introduced me to this particular place. He would come by and, I'd stay at his ranch with him. We'd go down to the ashram. We'd wake up. We'd do our personal sadhana. We'd do some Wim Hof breathing and stuff. And then we go down to the ashram and do yoga. And then we head back to the ranch and do some horse riding. Yeah. Yeah, dude, so that was the coolest part of this entire thing. Got to ride horses. It was so much fun. Oh my god. I've got pictures and stuff. You can go check it out on my Insta. I've got 3 Insta profiles at the moment. I'm trying to figure out the whole direction of that. Like I said, I've got a lot of work to do, man. I took a vacation for a month. It was like a work vacation. I was working on other things when I was there, but still, I've neglected certain things like the podcast, which is why I'm back here now and, putting a lot of work in because I like doing this. I like speaking into a mic without being interrupted. Yeah. So that's my whole thing, yo. I'm back. The podcast has a bit of a journey to do. Like, we're gonna go on this huge freaking character arc. I'm gonna be recording so that I have, how do I say this? Like a backlog or a front log? I don't know. So I have something saved up, even if I do decide to go off grid for a couple of months, the content is still settled. Because in a month, we put out like 4 podcasts once a week, right? And considering my current situation, I might be able to bust out like an episode each day and keep it ready. I don't know. We'll see. But it's a whole new work ethic for me now. I'm going to be working like mad. I'm back. Rejoice. Yeah, I think that's a good way to end the podcast. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. It's been one hell of a ride. It feels good to be back. And you will be hearing a lot more of me. And hopefully you'll be able to see me soon. Okay? So if you like this, like, definitely hit the like, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments. Let me know. I'm always up for a good debate. I think you by now it's kind of obvious. But that's about it from me today. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.